What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are here with another Detroit Lions All-22 look at this Seattle Seahawks game. This is probably going to be our last time taking a look at this game, unless, of course, I throw some clips in there for this upcoming matchup against the Falcons in our preview/prediction video. But today, man, we're moving to the offensive side of the ball. Yesterday, we posted defense, so feel free to go check that out. Obviously, defense had some criticism, so we want to take a look at a lot of the plays there. Today, we're moving to the offense. The positive is there's a lot more good plays to take a look at in this game. The passing game was really good for the Lions. We had some moving pieces in and out. We set some things up. Schematically, I thought we did a really good job. There were some things that I liked, maybe some things that I didn't like, some good, some bad. We'll take a look at all of that in today's video. We're going to get a nice little mix here. Not showing every play, but there's a lot of things to kind of dive into with this video. And we also had some movement. So specifically on the offensive line, having Penei Sewell at left tackle and Matt Nelson at right tackle. Penei Sewell did his thing for the most part. There was a few things that were missing there, but he was pretty good for the most part. And Matt Nelson, I got to give him some credit. I thought Matt Nelson played a good game. Now, it wasn't perfect, but I thought he played a good game. Overall, good game for Matt Nelson. As a run blocker, the way that he was getting up to the second level was very smooth. I thought he played a really nice game for the Lions in there. So I'll give them credit in terms of I thought they protected the O-line pretty well, got the ball quickly, avoided third and long for the most part, did some pistol look offensively, but Matt Nelson held his own. So, you got to give him some credit for that. We'll showcase him a little bit in this video. We're going to start with the pass play first here. And this one, kind of simple. We'll keep it simple. Lions go to an empty look, and it's Sam Laporta who breaks free late, makes himself a target for Jared Goff. Someone was clapping on the sideline before he even caught this ball. I loved it because we saw in week 1 Marvin Jones Jr. do that, and then here in week 2 we saw Sam Laporta do that. I love that trait from a receiver, and to me that just speaks pure receiver to Sam Laporta. I'm going to go find space, make myself open, and Goff is going to find him. And there was a lot of confidence and calmness within this play, even with some of the inside pressure here on that spin move on Matt Nelson. Now, with that being said, Seattle did something I thought was kind of interesting. We went to some of these empty looks. We had 3 receivers on one side, 2 on the other. They would a lot of times kind of man up this backside with 2 receivers. So that meant they would give some zone looks here. They would kind of go combination in terms of coverage. You'll also notice with some of the outside cornerbacks that are in that outside third of the zone, a lot of times they'll sit inside leverage and kind of that half turn. So you'll take a look at the touchdown, for example, when we go to kind of the tight alignments from our receivers, they can't really sit inside leverage. And I think that's kind of what the Lions got a little bit of a look at here. It wasn't just pure zone. It was a little bit of a combo type of look, and we saw a lot of that in this game. And then the Lions kind of adapted, and they found ways to attack that, and they consistently had answers for what Seattle wanted to do defensively, whether that be cover 6, cover 3. They just had answers for it. Now, not everything that I love. We'll show some things like that, but man, they had answers. But here, everything's covered up pretty well. You can see St. Brown wanted to hit this quick little hitch here to St. Brown. It looks like it's a little bit more manned up on the play. You can see the linebacker here as Goff is staring this down. You can see the linebacker doesn't necessarily jump in front of this or move in front of this. You have kind of a post happening behind, and then of course the drag, which sit downs in zone coverage. So everything is covered up pretty well. So then with the pressure, Goff gets out of the pocket, and then it's all Sam Laporta, man, creating space, making himself a target. I absolutely love that. I think it's those little things, man, that make you really good. And I don't know. I just love to hear. So I wanted to showcase it, making himself a target. You see the guy clapping on the sideline. It's David Montgomery. And like Dan Campbell said, man, he thought he was playing outstanding until the fumble. And then outside of that, he was outstanding. And I thought he was as well. The amount of broken tackles, the contact balance is ridiculous with this guy. I mean, it's very uncomparable in the league. There's not a lot of guys that bounce off as many tackles as Montgomery does. Now, sure, there's some things that he's not excellent at. He's not the fastest guy, but he consistently just bounces off of guys, goes forward, finishes strong. And we saw that early in this game with a look like this. So here you're going to get the edge defender. He's going to get a clean shot on David Montgomery. This is something we talked about as well. They pulled a lot of linemen in this game. There was some good, was some bad. There was some negative plays with the aggressiveness of their edge rushers. We'll take a look at some different examples. We had some blown blocks as well. But here the Lions utilized the motion with Brock Wright almost into a split zone look. Now, Laporta is going to come down in a split zone look, but he's going to shoot up to the second level. It's going to be Brock Wright who they're going to ask to try to pick up this 9 technique edge rusher on this play. You're going to see this is kind of a tough spot here. He kind of gets inside with the first step from the edge rusher, and then they kind of bounce around him a little bit, and he ends up getting a clean shot. So Brock doesn't get a clean shot. It's a cool run design. You can see where Jordan Brooks is. He's way off as an off-ball linebacker, kind of stacking right behind that 3 technique, not just sitting into his gap. So for the Lions to crash down Nelson to try to pick up the backside backer and then utilize Laporta to try to spring this into second level, if Brock Wright can just get a touch essentially here on this edge rusher, this springboard's a big-time run. And the Lions started to utilize traps and whams to try to open that up. Brock was better in this game than I initially thought. When going back and rewatching the All-22 version, I was like, man, Brock did a lot of good in this game. I mean, it wasn't all perfect, but there was a lot more good than I initially saw when I watched it back through the broadcast version, so I do need to say that. But again, here, so they bring Laporta around. Brock Wright doesn't get a clean shot there, and it's Dave Montgomery getting hit immediately. This should have been a tackle for loss, a big edge rusher, but he bounces off it. It cuts off, but he did that consistently, 5 or 6 yards, just bouncing off guys. Now, as I said, we'll kind of work our way through these passing plays. We'll go here, and this is just one of those zone looks defensively. You're going to get a cover 3 look. I know we can't really tell from this point of view, but it's okay. This is just kind of a simple one that I want to showcase. So use that short motion. So Gibbs is motioning over here, and he's going to run that drag across the field. We've done this a lot. But with it being zone coverage, he sits down in a zone spot. We're also going to take a look at that interception because I do want to talk through what I saw in that play. But he sits down in that zone spot, and Brock Wright is going to work right behind that and sit right down here behind the linebackers. If you watch Jared's eyes, watch him focus on Bobby Wagner. We did an excellent job, I thought, of attacking Bobby Wagner, utilizing eyes, moving him in zone, throwing it by him in zone coverage when we could isolate that, and isolating linebackers with Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, we did an excellent job there. But watch it here. So Goff's eyes, watching Bobby Wagner. Brock Wright getting depth here is going to pull that linebacker open, and then it's Jahmyr Gibbs who just sits down for an easy little completion, and he picks up a first down. So that one was nice. Now, let's move to that first touchdown. We're going to start to expand a little bit here. We're going to move that first touchdown for the Lions. We're getting, again, a cover 3 look. They played a lot of that. Julian Love rolls down. We talked about them kind of playing some man on the backside a little bit. Here, the Lions balance it out with the motion because they have Sam Laporta in line on this backside. So they kind of balance it out in this look. You're also getting a 2-4-5 look from this defensive front, so personnel-wise, they're a little bit lighter here. In some of the other situations, the Lions would throw heavy personnel, go empty, so Seattle would want to match that. Well, what happens is that when they would match that, the Lions could hit zone holes a little bit easier because they weren't able to match up in coverage. They couldn't match up a tight end on a linebacker. They didn't like that. But here they were able to a little bit. However, with this motion, you get the wheel route. You get kind of the same look at the top here. You get the wheel route, which is going to pull back Devin Witherspoon on this play, but then also Josh Reynolds, who's going to kind of push to this outside, create distance and space for Goff to throw to with this safety, because with Quandre Diggs sitting in the middle, Goff has to try to pull this safety over to hit this on time, and you're going to see the other angle is beautiful. So Josh Reynolds needs to create as much space as possible here with his route, and I think the motion did a little bit of that as well, because Julian Love would normally be kind of this outside flat defender, so you kind of have this motion come across, his first steps to the outside with that, now he's on Reynolds, so Reynolds can continue to push against it, and then right there, as he kind of slow plays it into the contact, he breaks inside, takes off, and now all of a sudden Love is a step behind trying to carry this route where usually you would just, have the flat. He's trying to carry it up the seam. Now he's a step behind. You can see Witherspoon here, he backs off a little bit with Brock Wright kind of running behind him, and then with the safety, you see Goff's eyes. He's going to hold that, and then come back and hit this seam. And again, if you notice at the bottom with Witherspoon, right, with this motion, he's still to try to sit inside leverage and follow on top of this route from Brock Wright. But with Brock Wright pacing and kind of slowing the route down, he has to kind of slow himself up as well. That way he can't jump this route. So Brock Wright slows himself on the backside. And that was a money shot, man. We're going to take a look at the other angle because this thing is beautiful from this angle. You can see it here. Boom. Look at how he holds it. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, that was a beautiful start to the offense. You gotta love that. That's good. That's a good start for us. A lot of good there. Now, as good as a start as that was for the Lions offense, we also need to talk about something serious in terms of feeling good and happiness with today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals, regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue such as depression or anxiety. If you're just a human who's living on this earth that's going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very different way. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable, more accessible, and this is an important mission because it's hard finding a therapist, especially when you are limited to the options in your area. It essentially brings it right to you online. It's remote, and by filling out a few questions, and these questions are great questions to really match you up with hopefully the best therapist for you, such as looking for a therapist as a couple, an individual, as a teen, what are your expectations out of therapy, you're a religious person and maybe has the same beliefs that you have. BetterHelp can match you with a professional therapist in as little as a few days. Me personally, where therapy could help me a ton is one thing that I always go back and forth on is my scheduling. I always think about the fact that there's only 24 hours in the day. You can't add more hours to it, you can't take hours away, so how do you manage those 24 hours? And for me, it's really a good quote that I found recently, finding meaning in the suffering, and that is one of those things that I'm always focused on on is, okay, I need to find meaning in what I'm doing because I can't add more hours to the day. The fact that I had a video upload one time over here a few days ago at 6 a.m., I was up till 5 a.m. in the morning editing, recording, and posting that video. But for me, I find meaning in posting those videos. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to you guys. I think that we can add some, energy, some happiness. Well, at the same time, we could talk about what we love to talk about, and that's football. And in a way, I think it can take you away from some things when you're talking about something that's bigger than yourself, and that's this community that we've created over here. I want to continue to improve upon that. So if you are going through something, this is a great opportunity to have it basically come right to you. And you can do it through text message, you can get on live calls, you can do it from your phone, you can do it from your laptop, but it's all online. And because therapy is a little bit like dating, if it's not the right therapist for you, or you don't feel that it's going extremely well, you can find a new therapist. A common thing in therapy, you can easily switch for free without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. Easy to get matched up with a therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp.com/DoseOfDion. It's really cool. If you go to that website and you pull it up, it actually shows my little logo there. Clicking that top link in the description does help support this channel. But it also gives you 10% off your first month with BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. So it's really a win-win. If you are struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description. It's on the screen right now. BetterHelp.com/DoseOfDion. Once again, thank you, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. Here is a good example of Dave Montgomery just bouncing off blocks. You get an inside zone from the Lions here. It wasn't perfect. I think Frank Ragnow lost his block a little bit late right there. You're going to see Dave Montgomery's going to bounce back inside. On this backside, you have Sewell trying to kind of create that down block, right? He's trying to drive this. Doesn't get as much movement, I think, as he would have liked here. Kind of gets Brock Wright pushed into him, and then you can see Penei Sewell's going to go down on this play. I will say, though, look at James Mitchell. Mitchell doing a nice job here on the backside, right? Picking up that block, down block, and then opens himself up, gets some contact there. And then Jonah Jackson also getting into the second level. You can see it starts there, jumps into the second level. But watch Dave Montgomery just bounce off of guys. And there's so many examples of this, but he's just rolling forward, man. He's just stumbling forward. I just want to see more. If they're watching this, I just want to see more. I want more from this guy. And we're getting this kind of look. I didn't think I needed to show the whole field for this one, but we're going to get a cover 4 look. So quarters look here defensively. I got to give credit to Brock Wright, right? We want to point out some individuals here. Well, let's point out Brock Wright. The Lions go to the play fake look. Also notice Montgomery as he shoots through here on the run fake. This is kind of smooth. Okay, this is a little smooth. But really, Brock Wright's who I want to focus on in line here blocking. He almost allows this to happen. Watch Brock Wright take on Nwosu one-on-one. Watch him. Boom. He gets contact, and look at him hang with this block. Now, you're going to see Laporta's going to come down and chip that and then leak out and do a little curl. With them going into cover 4, everything was covered downfield. The Lions try to set up deep route, then a flat, and then kind of a big corner shot on top of it. But with the coverage that they dropped into, everything was covered downfield really well. So the pass protection's key first here. You can see Jonah Jackson working to allow Goff to have this time. But also, Brock Wright handling business like that allows Laporta to get out here and get free. And then it's just, again, Laporta doing his thing with the ball in his hands. Let's take a look here. That little stiff arm. It wasn't that crazy from that point of view, but just staying on his feet, contact balance, that's the big thing. Talked about putting the linebackers, zone coverage, kind of moving them in zone. How about isolating our running back with matchups? The Lions did an excellent job of that. You can see some of the communication here pre-snap. So again, they're going to go into a cover 3 look. The safety's going to kind of buzz down. Now they're going to bring a blitz on this play. The edge rusher is actually going to go. So they're going to bring 5 rushers. So there is an extra defender that they are missing on this play. Safety's going to roll down to the blitz side, also kind of the strong side where we have 3 receivers. And what that does is on this backside, it isolates 2 guys. It isolates Kobe Bryant on the running back, and it isolates Trey Brown on the tight end. So as Laporta releases vertically, now here would be your flat defender. But again, as we talked about on that backside, they would kind of just man up and match up. And in this case, that's exactly what you had. As you can see on this play, Bobby Wagner, instead of just sitting underneath on kind of the side that they're going to man up with a single side receiver, instead they're just going to blitz him. So that's why you're missing that underneath zone defender, because they're just matching the backside again. And I would assume that's what Goff is seeing, and that's why he's talking to Gibbs like, hey man, he's showing blitz. If he blitzes, you run this little angle route on this play, you're going to be singled up with no inside help. So I have a lot of room to throw this ball, and there's going to be no zone linebacker that I have to try to fit between. So now you had it matched up here with Gibbs. Now I also want to point out kind of the way that he runs this route, because I think it does kind of come back to the interception. Because initially when I heard Dan Campbell say that it may have been more on the route, I'm watching that and thinking, okay, maybe he thought he was going to break outside and he broke inside. I'm like, I don't see that. However, it's more so to me maybe how he ran the route, because there were 2 things that we saw. It was either the in-breaking angle route where at the top, watch here how he stutters, and then boom, he breaks inside. There was that look, and then there was the little curl when he would sit down. And when you do that, he'd kind of rise up and just sit. There was no stutter, break, and kind of dip down and go right here. Boom. There wasn't that look. So I think the look may have been different in that sense. So again, but they isolate him on Kobe Bryant. And what I love about this is it makes me think of coming into the year how we talked about finding man beaters, like who can win in man coverage. And I said Jahmyr Gibbs would be a huge part of that, right? It was my favorite part of his game was receiving ability. And this is where I thought he'd be a big part of that. Well, the Lions had to figure out how to get those opportunities. And Seattle basically presented those opportunities, and Jahmyr Gibbs was able to take advantage for the most part. Now, he did have that drop, but he's able to take advantage for the most part. There he is, creating space on Kobe Bryant and picking up a first down for 8 yards on that play. Here's an example of one of those blown blocks for the Lions. A couple of them, I actually think, on this play. The Lions go to one of those counter looks. There's the pull there from Jonah Jackson. Notice on this backside, Penei Sewell kind of loses his block a little bit, kind of seal off this backside so they can create that room for the pull block. As the defender steps to the outside, he ends up going down, and that leaves Brock Wright essentially not prepared to get hit with a big defensive lineman. So he gets kind of punched in the chest and pushed back. So now this is your backfield kind of presence right there, right? He's the guy that's kind of stepping in. You can see without the tight end played it, right? Trying to step in front and seal off this backside. I believe that's what Penei Sewell is trying to do here, but he ends up going down on this play. So that kind of leads Brock Wright into getting kind of just, punched back, and that's what happens. But on the front side, you're going to see with the pulling blocker that the Lions have, which is Jonah Jackson, you're going to see right here, he kind of misses this block right there as he steps inside of him, and for Cabinda, that leads him to stepping in and also blocking the same guy, and I think that's also part of the reason that we had a negative here, because it wasn't as clean as boom, he picks up the block, Cabinda gets up to the second level, they end up both kind of blocking the same guy with the miss there. Good job by their edge defenders, man. We talked about that coming in, like it's tough to make connection with them when you're pulling because they are very elusive, and that's a great example right there of that happening. Now, here's what I did love, and this was kind of going into, we saw about 3 plays like this on this possession, and this is here, we kind of get that pass down look. You can see how light the box is, right? They're going basically 2-3 techniques here with their defensive linemen. They have one off-ball linebacker, and there's really only 4 guys in the box if we look at this play. There's really, it's like, there's really only 4, maybe 3. You could see Bobby's in there. You got the 2 D linemen, Kobe Bryant. They're kind of on the outside because of how wide their techniques are, and they're in a stand-up role. So the box is super light. And the Lions go into a trap look offensively, and they actually had some success. They kind of started to lean into this a little bit more on this possession. I love this across the board. Okay, so there's the trap look. You're going to see Jonah's going to get to the second level. Watch how Jonah plays this. I thought this was just slick. So he is shooting up to get Bobby Wagner here, but as Bobby Wagner jumps outside, he's like, nah, that's cool. You go do your thing. I'm going to work that up to Kobe Bryant. So boom, then he gets up to Kobe Bryant and connects on his block, and it's like he didn't even need to waste his time with trying to pick up Bobby Wagner here. So this was just smooth. You want to jump outside? Cool. I'm going to go get this guy. He had a plan. He had a plan immediately, like, okay, this is what I'm going to go do then. And then, of course, Big V's got to come around and pick up his block. Boom, right there he does. And just watch Dave Montgomery go to work. That's kind of what he did. They're going to do defensively. You're going to see it here at the bottom. They have that kind of that cover 2 look. Here's your underneath zone defender. Here's your deep safety. Then they're going to play this quarters on the backside. But they're going to bring the slot blitz. I mean, we saw a lot of this on the opposite end because this is what we did to Seattle kind of all game. So they bring this slot blitz. They bring the extra rusher. Now, Goff doesn't really see that until he flips his head around because he doesn't get to see where that's coming when he's doing that play fake. So that's an important factor as well, and one of the passes that we kind of missed there. Also, you're going to have Brock Wright step in here. Just do enough, really kind of splitting across, just getting enough contact to give him some time. But I still loved how even on this, right, when you're faking this, you can kind of see this rusher, whether he does or doesn't, I think he does. But to still be able to go through 3 looks on this play. Now, where I will give their linebackers credit is they were pretty darn disciplined. Now, they moved a little bit on some of the jet motions against the run, but they were pretty disciplined for the most part. And in getting depth, Bobby Wagner did an excellent job of just sprinting back to get depth, getting in those passing lanes, and taking away some of the play action shots that we want to hit. But on this play, to still get through 3 looks essentially on this play. So you get the play fake. He's looking middle of the field, wants to hit St. Brown on this kind of deep crossing route behind the linebackers with the play fake. Here at the top, now they're giving you a cover 2 look. You kind of run this deep post to almost pull it off to kind of open up right behind the linebackers. We can hit that shot. So he looks there first, feels the pressure, then his eyes go here. Now, my bad, not here. They go here. They go to Trey Brown underneath. This is the outside zone corner. Why this is important is because with them giving you a cover 6, and again, basically playing cover 2 on this side of the field, now you're basically looking at 2 guys, right? You're looking at over top and you're looking at underneath. You have this guy that's kind of in the pickle, right? How much depth are you going to get? Or are you going to jump down into the flat? Well, in this play, Goff does a nice job. He's watching Trey Brown, holding it, and then he comes back to Gibbs to match up with some of the timings with that swing route. Really good timing within the offense again. So by the time he gets around to swing, the ball is now going that direction. And Goff watching Trey Brown on this play, who's not out there yet, he's selling the run fake. With him keeping discipline and watching this, trying to back him up, not just immediately looking there. Now all of a sudden you can give Gibbs just a little bit more room to catch and run. I just love that. How there was a blitz, Brock did just enough, and the timing just seemed to be still on point, which was excellent on that play. This is the 4th down stop defensively that Seattle had, and look, we had a look here. It was knocked away. I think the timing may have been just a tad off on this one, speaking of timing. The first look for Jared Goff here, he was trying to kind of go to this outside one-on-one, Khalif Raymond on Trey Brown. I love that matchup too, so I understand it. I thought that was the guy Lions could attack in man coverage. You get the one-on-one. Now, Seattle kind of adds a little wrinkle to this because while they're playing cover 1 defense, they only bring 3 rushers. They drop out 2 defenders on this play, so they kind of get in some of those passing lanes. Good job by them. But really what happens here is the defender falls down the cornerback initially, and then he's able to actually, I think it kind of helps him out. He's able to stick inside of Khalif Raymond on this play, so he slips down, but he's able to stick inside of Khalif, and Khalif can't break free. Also, you have this underneath backer here. Khalif's still on the ground, so that pass kind of took away. So that automatically got him away from his first look. Then he came back here. Now, again, talking about slipping, there's another defender down on the play. He looks back immediately here to the middle of the field, and he would think, okay, well, this is great. The man coverage defender is not in a good spot. But with that safety coming down, Goff doesn't like it. He doesn't try it. Then it comes back to the 3rd route, and the timing seemingly was good, but you're gonna see Sam Laporta kind of slow himself down. One thing that maybe wasn't accounted for as well was kind of having this player drop route, and this one as well. But he can't continuously just run across the field like you would against man coverage. I think a little bit because of that underneath defender, he kind of slows it down. It also could have just been the natural timing, like, hey, like break it down once you get in here and kind of post it up. Because if you look on the backside of Lions, it did a little light pick on this play with St. Brown right here kind of rolling through, creating just a little bit of space. He's got the separation off the line, but when he comes back to throw it to him, it felt like it was on time, but he starts to kind of shuffle down and break down instead of running through this, and all of a sudden now you have the cornerback who's able to jump this and break it up. So again, I think the timing may have been a little bit late there from a passing perspective, but that's what happened on that play. What I love about our blocking in this game was the receivers, man. The receivers were blocking. There was real effort when they were blocking, so I absolutely love that, man. Josh Reynolds was giving it, Marvin was giving it, Khalif Raymond was. We know St. Brown always does. There's kind of that jet motion look, which I think was impactful on this play. They were pretty disciplined for the most part, but you can see with that jet look, kind of steps over Bobby Wagner. Then they run this outside zone, so they're just trying to quickly get out there. Here where Jonas Jackson gets kind of, punched in the chest there from the defensive lineman, but he's able to hold up and still do enough to kind of seal this run lane off. You can see Penei Sewell just, taking his guy outside. He's taking Kobe Bryant out there as he should on the play. And Frank Ragnall's able to just hold up enough to kind of seal it here on this backside. You can see this right here. Kind of just doing enough, but they create a nice little lane. I love the way that the receivers were blocking, so I did want to point that out. That was a successful run for the Lions. Talked about, right? So here on the 2 receiver side, a lot of times they would kind of just match up, and you would see how the off-ball zone linebacker would play it, kind of in that hook curl right here. He wouldn't float out there. He would stay right here on this hash, kind of bracket this in. So the Lions started to take advantage of that. When I initially saw this, I'm like, man, what the heck are they doing offensively? Why did they switch on this play? It's like, why did you at the last second take off and switch? Was this just a breakdown with Kobe Bryant here? I'm like, I didn't understand this. But because they're still playing kind of that cover 3 zone on this side, they are dropping into their zones, and they're kind of trying to play with that responsibility. So here you get that quick route, just a stab, open up to the quarterback. And then here for St. Brown, he's going to run kind of this curl route. Now, I think St. Brown ran it well, really sold it well. But with that happening, you're going to see that they're going to switch. So he's going to jump into the flat, as his own responsibility would be. And this outside corner, Devin Witherspoon on the play, knows that he's the outside third. So when he sees this go vertical and Saint sells that well, he's like, okay, let's switch this. You go there. Well, what happens is now you're creating basically just inside leverage for him to sit down, because you're not running a slot fade. You're just giving him inside leverage to sit down. And again, at the off-ball position, you can see they're all kind of playing zone. So Goff's eyes, again, go middle of the field. We got to keep these linebackers inside. And then I can come back on time. They switch, and we hit that. Boom. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. It looked weird initially, but when I saw it multiple times, I was like, oh, okay, that's just what they're doing. Now, I will showcase the flea flicker as well, just because it's pretty cool. Offensive line not moving forward. I mean, that's usually the tell. You can see here the offensive line is not blocking upfield, so they sell it well because it's a handoff. It looks like a run from all the DBs, but the O-line isn't moving. So I think that's where they get thrown off more so than anything, is because just no one's moving up front, but they don't even notice that. And then again, Khalif Raymond, you can see here, he sells this thing pretty well. They do that kind of short motion. He sells as if he's going to get up to the safety and get a block, but on this play, as he kind of sits himself down there, Then you just have him open. I mean, it was just as simple as that. And then, you know, it was a good ball, good catch. Scored a touchdown on that play. Okay, here's Matt Nelson on this play again. It wasn't perfect, but man, there was a lot of good, I thought. Now, I didn't think they had an elite edge rusher. But again, here with Nwosu, who's a very powerful, explosive edge, he gets pushed back initially, but watch him hang in there. He hung in there enough to get this ball off. Again, they go to a cover 6 look defensively. So here's that quarter side. Here's that kind of cover 6 look. And again, what that does, it essentially just isolates this linebacker on the back. Because as you see here, as we switch to release, he's going to go vertical. Cornerback, you take that. Safety, you got to play that, you know, deep quarter on the play. So you're sticking on that hash. Now all of a sudden, what I got Brooks on my running back. And I'll tell you what, Devin Bush, he could cover in man coverage. But Jahmyr Gibbs on Jordan Brooks, you got to like that matchup all day long. Even same thing with Bush. This is what we talked about. Like, you want that matchup. This is what we talked about coming in the year. We want Gibbs one-on-one. That's a man beater for us. And essentially, this is kind of like a man beater. He's sitting inside. Boom, there's a stab outside, break inside. Now, he drops this pass. That was the one bad drop that he had. But you still like the idea of it, still creating that space. You can see kind of the stutter stab and then break back inside, kind of the same look. And in that play, he's dropped the ball. I don't spend much time because not much really happened. This was our 3rd and 5. It was one of our 3 and outs in this game. And basically, we get a holding call. You can see the blown block here from Jonah Jackson. He just gets kind of just taken to the ground, and that's where he gets caught for holding. So even if we completed some, it wasn't going to happen. We were going to get moved back. So that kind of thrown off a lot here. Also, we had man in the back end, which was covered pretty well. I think Sam Laporta would have been the guy to get open, and I just focus on him because I like this matchup with Julian Love, but he's got like a lot of finesse about him while also being very physical as a route runner. And you saw that with his releases off the line of scrimmage, there's still just a lot of finesse within his game. The ability to change direction like down a dime is unreal for a tight end. This was covered up well, though. It was thrown away. They got the stop, and it mainly was that blown block that kind of threw everything off. Now, this is unreal. This was right before half, and we were watching this live, and when I saw this live, I wasn't really counting, so I didn't realize they only had one deep safety. I don't understand what they're doing defensively here. Like, can we just take a second and be like, wait a minute, what is happening defensively? Why would Seattle play with a single high safety before half? I mean, was that like the ultimate sign of disrespect? Like, oh, we know you can't push the ball downfield? To me, this is unreal. We had one play before half, and you played a single high safety, and they pressed up St. Brown. I get that because he's not like the speedster, right? If that's JMO, you're not pressing him up, I wouldn't think. But still, it's like, wait, what are we doing? This thing had a legitimate shot. And you're going to see Goff. He does a nice job. He holds Quandre Diggs, comes back to the press look, and he drops a really beautiful pass here. Now, I don't know if Goff has the arm to throw it to the end zone, so I think that's why this happened. But he caught this. And as you're going to see, if he breaks his tackle, he's scoring a touchdown probably. I mean, like, I'm watching it back like, wait a minute. Why would you even try that? You're going to see it's going to happen through the tight end position. They run kind of an inside zone play on this play. And what I did like was Matt Nelson, right, working up to the second level. Pretty smooth there on this play. I did like that. But you're going to see from the tight end position, you're going to see Nwosu again, just kind of pushing back our tight end on this play. And he's the first guy to hit us in the backfield. And then, of course, the fumble happened. The reason I kind of talked about what they were doing defensively is because you get a look like this. Now, there's a couple things to point out on this play. St. Brown's going to make an excellent catch here on Julian Love. But a couple things to point out. First off, personnel. All right, the Lions are running 3 tight ends. They're showing 13 personnel, 3 tight ends, 1 running back, and a receiver. St. Brown is the only receiver on the field. This is, to me, not by accident. It's matching personnel with personnel. Lions putting 3 tight ends on the field leads to you getting this from defensively. 1, 2, 3, 4 linebackers, 3 down linemen. So now you're kind of that base package defensively. You're getting that normal 3-4 look. The Lions are doing that for a reason. It's like, why have 1 receiver on the field? Like, why have Kabinda out there, right? We've talked about that in the past. Well, what that does is, like we talked about earlier, look where the safety's at. This is cover 3. He's a single high safety. Usually they're middle field. Look where he's rolling to. He's rolling to the side with 3 guys on this play, and they're all 2 tight ends and a running back, right? This is important because defensively you're matching that personnel. They don't want to carry that. Even though they're tight ends, they don't want Nwosu to go carry James Mitchell on a fade route and try to match that up. So they're, or even here on the inside slot. So they're playing purely zone like we talked about on the 3 receiver side. So the safety, because of that, gets forced to sit over top there because they're like, hey, we can't have that guy run up the seam. If he's running up the seam with a linebacker, we don't really think we're winning that battle. So because of that, now all of a sudden what you get is the safety creeps over, right? The safety creeps over, they're playing his own look. Well, now you get singled up on the backside with St. Brown. And St. Brown just does what St. Brown does. Again, tackling Julian Love, and it was just this route which was beautiful by St. Brown. And it was really even a better catch. I think, than anything. Right at the seam again in a cover 3 look, just going right at it. Talk about Matt Nelson here at right tackle. You can see him working against the edge here. It maybe doesn't look perfect, but, you know, he pushes him out of the pocket and we create space. I mean, the other guys are doing their job. That's kind of what's expected of those. You can see kind of the jump there from Jonah Jackson, but I wanted to point out Matt Nelson for just holding up on that backside, allowing us to get that pass off. I mean, it's not like you're going through multiple reads on this play, you know, necessarily. Like, it's a 1-2. It's really a one-step drop from Jared Goff. The ball's out quickly, but still, good job from Matt Nelson. Timing. This is one of my favorites of the game. I think this perfectly displays timing offensively. They're going into a cover 1 look defensively here with an underneath defender, okay? And they have the 1 deep, of course, because they're in cover 1. So your underneath defender is right here. My bad. He's right here. This is your underneath defender. You have Jordan Brooks here. Watch the timing of this play. That's what stands out to me. So they're manned up. You got Julian Love on the running back. We still, I think, like that matchup. But, of course, the underneath off-ball linebacker that's not matched up is cheating to that side. What that means is they have no other help underneath, right? So now it's St. Brown who on this backside is going to want to run a whip route. Break outside, then break back inside. Okay, he kind of runs a version of his own little whip route here, and it's a nasty route. Watch the timing, though. Watch the timing. Watch David Montgomery when he leaks out. Look how this times up with Bobby Wagner, because he wants to sit in a little bit. He knows this is his matchup, but as that swings out, okay, I have to get out there. I have to vacate my area. He sits in there, but as it's swinging out, look at the timing of this. Goff starts here watching this off-ball linebacker. Obviously, he's not going to go there with the football with this linebacker sitting there. So when Goff comes back to hit St. Brown in that second look, obviously pass protection has to be there. Look at Matt Nelson doing work again. Shout out to Matt Nelson. Look at this. Come on, man. Got to give him some credit. Everybody else, great pocket. But when he comes back, the timing is all in sync. When they're able to get Bobby Wagner out of the pocket, when Jared Goff is able to come back and hit it, everything's in sync. Okay, he's in a swing route. Linebacker gets out of the way. St. Brown gets out of the break. Goff is letting that thing go. I mean, everything was on time. That is just beautiful football. I mean, you gotta love that. It is beautiful, man. Of course, the cut back, you're going to see Jonah Jackson kind of loses his block on the interior here. They kind of double team in the inside. You get kind of that duo look. You're going to see they're going to bring a tight end, though, so it makes it a little bit different. The tight end essentially acts like it's a duo on this play, but he's not there pre-snap. So they do a hard double team here, and what they're going to do is they're going to shoot Matt Nelson up to the second level to take Brooks. They're going to try to, again, bring this tight end around and pick up the edge rusher. So they're trying to pop these things into the second level. And you're going to see on this play, everything kind of goes fine. Jonah Jackson loses his block, so kind of force an immediate cutback because you're going to run into somebody's arms with this strong double team, which, by the way, they were holding up pretty well against the double team, so give the big man credit there. I think that's Reed on that play. Yeah, Reed's a good player. And then you come down with the tight end, and, you know, he gets a shot on him. Not too bad there, but it forces the immediate cutback, and then he's waiting for Bobby Wagner, who fills at an incredibly high level like this. I mean, he's outstanding at that. So the defensive front wins. Usually Bobby Wagner is going to win as well. This running back motion to the left, they're going to pull out Kobe Bryant, the slot on this play, so it almost feels like it's man coverage. But what also happens is just really sneaky. Of course, St. Brown, he's going to get this little touch pass. So there's the touch pass. They pull 2 offensive linemen, and there's really just nobody on that side. Now, shout out to Julian Love. He filled this extremely fast. He made this thing tight. But again, you're just getting the numbers on this play. You just seal down here with Matt Nelson, and then you kind of just sneak through Penei Sewell and also Jonah Jackson. But Jonah Jackson coming through first allows you to pick up the edge rusher and allows Penei Sewell to do what he does well. Be athletic and just go. And that's what he does on this play. Very creative play there. They clearly had a play. When they went for it, I was like, oh man, why are we going for this? But clearly they had a play in mind. Now again, I want to give some credit to their linebackers. So we talk about the discipline. This is really good. I think this is really good. They get a cover 3 look here from about the 7-8 yard line on this play. Lions do their run fake. There's the jet motion with Gibbs. But watch the discipline here from the off-ball linebacker sitting in his zone, not leaving it. So there's the flat coverage. Here's the underneath zone coverage. And notice how he doesn't bite on anything. He doesn't see the run fake and dive on that. He doesn't open up here when he sees the tight end blocking in line, because that's the guy that he needs to focus on. He doesn't open up and cover the seam. He stays locked into Sam Laporta, and because of that, he limits this to a 3-yard gain. So that was a good job by the linebacker, just really staying disciplined. If anything, maybe you're going to try to throw back and hit Josh, but I would not have tried that. So again, just good job by the linebacker there. Lions would have to punch it in from 4 yards out, and that's what they would do. The showcase will be short and sweet with this one is Sam Laporta. Now, I didn't think Sam Laporta was consistent as a run blocker, but this was pretty nasty, and I need to showcase it. Yeah. Yep. That's that's pretty good, you know. And again, watch the receivers. Look how fired up Josh Reynolds is to block here. Watch him block this so he gets inside of Kobe Bryant, trying to just make connection. Look how he kind of positions himself inside to give that cutback lane right here for David Montgomery. I love this, but then also look at the celebration. He was fired up after this play. I cut it off, but he was fired up. Khalif Raymond, of course, stepping in, trying to block on a linebacker and a safety. But I love the receivers and just giving that effort, just giving some sort of effort as blockers was great. It was cool to see him fired up on that play. Like, man, we did it. Now this, we get another empty look, and you talk about that awareness. Jared Goff, a lot of good decision making. I think that's one thing that you can easily point to was decision making, and this is a great example of it to me. Again, that empty look, single eye safety, but notice the difference. Linebackers out here wide. Now, we pointed this out against Kansas City when the Lions did this, and we were like, hey, this shows versatility. Because every time you see that linebacker wide with the back, you're thinking man coverage, because otherwise you would have anybody out there because you're playing zone coverage. This makes you believe it's man coverage when you pull a linebacker out of the box to go sit with the running back, and you're in an empty look, so there's really no threat of running with Goff. So because of that, you get the sense this is man. And Goff recognized that immediately. He's immediately going there, and he hits David Montgomery. That's just excellent awareness. I mean, to me, that's what that is. That's just like recognizing what I'm seeing, comfortability within this offense, and I'm going right there with the football. And a lot of times, you don't see quarterbacks make the throw to their backs, not when they're out wide. I haven't seen that a ton in the past for us. So that's just good awareness. Like, hey, this is what they're in. I'm going right at it, feeling very comfortable in what we're doing offensively. Blown up run play. So we got caught in this 4th and 2 situation. I didn't love this watching back. Defensively, they give you a cover 1 blitz look. I understand it, right? I don't know if there was a ton of threat really there that we were going to actually run the football on this play, so that's part of it. But the Lions go to the play fake. Now you can see Frank Ragnow ends up blocking essentially no one. They bring an extra defender on this play, and Jahmyr Gibbs tried to pick it up. He doesn't pick it up that well, so obviously this was incomplete. What I didn't love is he only needed 2 yards. So, okay, you want to sell play action. Every route is pretty deep on this play. Now, I understand with the timing, when you make the play fake and you plan on that back foot, that kind of lines up with the timing of him breaking the middle of the field. But it almost just makes me feel like a little bit like, okay, maybe we did a little bit too much here. You can understand based on how the 3rd down play went when they put man coverage that you were expecting man coverage, so the crossers would make sense. And also seeing them drop guys underneath may take away those quick hitters that you may try to set up. So I understand those 2 aspects of it, and you're trying to kind of lean maybe on that run fake to just get those linebackers to jump. But even still, I don't know that this was necessarily something that I love. Because I get it, like it makes sense, but at the same time on 4th and 2, I don't know that this is the play that I'm running, especially without Montgomery. I don't know that this would be the play I'd run as a single back, play action, crossers against man cover. I'm trying to go to Josh, maybe there should have been a PI. I just didn't love the idea of it watching back. I just thought that was maybe a little bit too much for a 4th and 2. I was like, I don't know. And maybe Gibbs was, maybe didn't sell it as well because it was Gibbs in there and not Montgomery. I don't know. I just didn't love it. Now, I do showcase this one. Yeah, so Craig Reynolds stepped in, and I'm confident in Craig Reynolds, man. I think he's a good back, so I'm glad that we have him. This is also the play that Big V got hurt. You're going to see on this backside. The main thing is this. It's not necessarily who the edge rusher is because I believe it's a different edge rusher, but watch how the edge rusher plays this. The Lions bring an end-around fake on the backside here. The edge rusher shows no attention to that. He's crashing down the line. He's getting in here to make a play from behind. And it's great. He makes the play from behind there, and you can see the movement. It was kind of rough here on the inside. So he didn't get a very quick hole to hit. You can see there's not really much of a hole for him to hit. But on this backside, you're going to see that they don't really pay any attention to that end around. He's immediately crashing. So I think part of that could have something to do with when Lions came back and hit it later in the game on that last drive, I believe it was. When you went back to it, the edge rusher, now they set it up a little bit differently, but there wasn't a lot of attention to it. So we kept faking it, and then we came back and we finally hit it, and we'll take a look at that one. And talk about the eyes here just very quickly. You can see holding Bobby Wagner. Look at the quick peek right here. Marvin Jones Jr. breaking the middle of the field. Okay, you open that up. Now I'm going to come back to Jahmyr Gibbs. Now the pass got a little bit high on him here. Great catch there by Gibbs to pull that thing down. But again, we just talked about the eyes, moving the linebackers underneath. We did an excellent job in this game of doing that. We get a cover 1 look defensively. They're going to bring a blitz on this play. This was a 3rd down and 3, so you get the extra rusher. Again, the offensive line handled this pretty well. Now Graham Glasgow was losing this block for sure, but they handled it pretty well. They slid over. Everybody was blocked up on this play, even though he's getting kind of pushed back. Goff kind of slides out of it, and then it was kind of that single step release outside, coming back inside for Josh Reynolds, created that space, flowing away from it, picked up the 1st down again, going at Julian Love, who rolled down to play man in cover 1. Seemed like they wanted to kind of go at that matchup if they could. And you're thinking, okay, maybe it was the pressure. Did he get hit on the play? Then you watch and you're like, he didn't really get a hit, so maybe this was just a bad throw, feeling the pressure. Anger route that's going to be ran here by Jahmyr Gibbs. Defensively, they're playing cover 2, and they're going to bring a blitz, so they have a 5th rusher on this play, so obviously there's a little extra heat. Nwosu gets a win there kind of around the edge of Matt Nelson on this play, so definitely I think hurried him up a little bit. Watch here with Jahmyr Gibbs. Watch how he runs this route. So you can see how he doesn't really make that stutter. There's not a decisive break on the route like we saw with some of the other ones where he would attack that outside leverage and then boom, I'm breaking through this. He kind of rounds this up. He rounds this off. He kind of lifts himself up when he comes into this break. You can see he kind of rounds it almost like right here. You would think maybe he's going to curl and sit down, and he kind of rounds it off to the inside. And I do think that Goff was throwing kind of that little curl route that we saw from him in this game, because there was that mix like, okay, go sit down in the zone or go break through. Now it's zone coverage, so you could have understood, I think, why he would break this thing down, but maybe he didn't necessarily recognize that, and maybe there was a little indecision there in terms of like, how do I want to play this through this route? He's like, hey, the guy's behind me, I'm taking off. But I think with that, with Goff feeling that pressure, kind of rushed it a little bit, and he's like, I gotta let this thing go. And I think right here when you see that body language with where the ball went, because initially I'm seeing this, I'm like, there's no way that he thought he was breaking outside, because the ball's over here, like the ball's right here. That would have not even been a completion if he broke outside. But I think it was more so that he thought that maybe he was going to sit down, and he threw that with the pressure. There was no time to wait. And when he kind of rounds that and then drives through it, now all of a sudden you get the pick. And that was the pick 6. So I think that's why Campbell may have said what he said right after the game. That's kind of how I see it when watching it back here. Again, here defensively, you kind of get, again, a linebacker stuck in the slot, which again probably tells you that he's not going to carry this. I'll also say why this isn't a 3x2 look. It's a 2x2 look, which is a little bit different from the plays that we saw before. Also keep in mind, to the short side, they're manning up. So on that far side, they're playing zone coverage. It's something that we had seen in the past from Seattle. Is to the short side, that's where you get the combination coverage. While on the front side or the far side of the field, you're getting more of that normal cover 3 look. Shout out to the outside corner for being prepared for this and kind of jumping on this. I think it was Trey Brown. Did a really nice job kind of sensing what might take place when they kind of went by this into this 2x2 look. Also, Goff, he's going to really have to try this pull the safety away this time, because like we took that on the other play, when they had the linebacker in the slot, safety was going to cheat that way. So in this case, you have Khalif Raymond. That's where Goff wants to go with it, assuming that they're going to match up on this backside, which they do. So they don't really need help over there, but he ends up helping. And the only reason he does is because Goff really pulls it hard that way. He holds it hard, and then he comes back, and he's able to get behind that. It was a really good play by the outside corner on this one. And if you notice at the top of the screen here, that route is being pushed vertically really fast. And for Khalif Raymond, he almost tries to stutter and then break this thing right behind the linebacker on the play. But with the cornerback, it almost was like it wasn't pushed fast enough, so the cornerback didn't feel like he had to get vertical, and that allowed him to kind of sit underneath to break on them. But you could see, again, they got what they wanted. It was kind of a stutter and then taking off to the seam, but the outside corner did a really nice job kind of just recognizing the look that they had been seeing, and he ends up making a play on this one. This was one of my favorite plays, man. This thing was massive. This was a 3rd and 13 that essentially felt like it was going to keep the game alive when he picked this up, and they're going to go into a cover 6 look here defensively, so they essentially get Sam Laporta just matched up here on the Kobe Bryant. I think this is the best angle to really take a look at. Safety drops out. They're in cover 6. So they, again, isolate essentially Kobe Bryant one-on-one on this play. And I think once Goff recognized that, he's like, that's where I want to go with it. You can see, again, he starts here with Bobby Wagner, then comes back to it with the break. It was a pretty nice, well-run route, but Kobe Bryant's going to sit inside. He's in a pretty good position. Doesn't really jump too far to the outside. Then it's just on Laporta, making a ridiculous contested catch, pulling it down, and then doing work after the catch to make sure that he got that dang first down. That was a nasty play by Sam Laporta. Watching this play, it almost feels like it was a little bit of a design trap run that didn't happen. As you're going to see, watch Graham Glasgow at right guard here. He almost tries to jump inside like he's trying to get up to the second level. Hey, go kind of block up Bobby Wagner. We'll bring around Jonah Jackson. He'll pick up that D lineman, and then we could shoot up to the second level, and now he's just playing against DBs. But if you notice here, when he kind of jumps inside, the defensive tackle gets in his chest right there, and he kind of gets stood up. So now it almost felt like Jonah, who's going to kick around and seal that up, he's like, okay, I'll just keep working to the second level. And Nelson has a free shot to the second level. So now it's just Jahmyr Gibbs using that speed to go get those 7 yards that we needed, and you can see that guy could just go. He can just go. Of course, the touchdown. The Lions get out quickly. They break the huddle. We're going to get a man coverage look. You have the underneath zone linebacker. You have the safety. So they're just going man across the board, and the big thing up here has been how fast we get through those reads when we get to these spots, right? How fast we recognize that's not there, just fly through progressions to stay on time. You look here to the outside, you know, you don't got the flat, you don't got the curl route because the linebacker's sitting underneath. Safety is also he's kind of stuck inside a little bit because of what you do here with Khalif Raymond, and you can see right there, so he's sitting inside of that because he's in the middle field. So now on this backside, you have a pure one-on-one, and with the timing of the route, Josh Reynolds just needs to go win that. The front side's covered well because you have an underneath zone linebacker here for Jones, you have the flat covered up, and then here at the top, you have the safety sitting in the middle of the field. So then you have to come to the backside, and you can see Josh Reynolds just has to get inside leverage like he does, win that route, and it's as simple as that. He just won the route on the play. The cornerback opens up outside to this fade, nice little move to get back inside, and then catch this touchdown. Also to stand in the pocket there, Graham Glasgow, a little bit late, kind of lost that block. Again, it wasn't the best day for Graham Glasgow stepping in, but did enough. That final drive, and I'm going to tell you what, like, this throw was beautiful watching this thing back. This thing was absolutely nasty. So again, we get that cover 6 look, kind of like we took a look at earlier defensively, like we saw a little bit earlier with the 2 deep safeties. And just watch this pass. So Jahmyr Gibbs is going to leak out, right? They didn't really leave him in the pass protect that often. This thing is beautiful. So you can see with the motion, you can see the linebacker kind of matching it on this play, almost just to show like he's going to take that because he's playing underneath. He's got that side of the zone field. And then you're going to see with the quarterback going into this quarters type of look, he's the only guy playing that side of the field. And of course, Bobby Wagner's kind of just chilling in the middle. So Goff's going to look at that first, hold him in the middle of the field. But also notice, man, this is a cool little design. They run the out route here, so they take him out of the play. And look, Laporta did his thing. He got separation like you wanted to. But this throw to stand in there and deliver this was beautiful. Take a look at this. Stepping up in the pocket. Look at the timing of this throw. Boom. Hit it right there on the safety. And you can see Julian Love. We talked about you can go in front of Julian Love in some of these cover 6 looks. He will give depth just like this. He jumps down, makes a good hit, but we fit it right in there. And this was, again, just really good recognition, I thought, pre-snap. Okay, look at the slide up. Look at this throw. Money. That thing looks awesome from that point of view. And again, it's the little things. Jahmyr Gibbs swings out, and with him swinging out, kind of delaying and then going, Bobby Wagner then initially is held by Goff's eyes, then ultimately he is taken out of the play by Jahmyr Gibbs running the swing route. And this is the end around. Watch the edge rusher on this play. Now, he kind of sets out there a little bit, but if you notice, look where he first crashes down. He crashes down directly down the line of scrimmage, like we saw with the other edge defender. Sam Laporta ultimately gets some contact. I don't know that that was necessarily by design. I think with him just crashing down, you would have been fine leaving him as a free rusher, but the defender got through, kind of forced it through because Jonah Jackson really didn't get any contact on this, so it kind of, I think, pushed Laporta off his path a little bit. But with the edge defender crashing down the line of scrimmage immediately, now you get here with this end around. Laporta's kind of just springing out there to lead block. You got Marvin Jones out there blocking. Again, good job not getting called for a holding call, I guess, there, but he's blocking. Laporta's kind of just shooting in front. And also the off-ball linebacker, he steps inside, like we saw with the last end-around fake. He steps inside, with allows Matt Nelson to just step up and then seal that off. And then again, Josh Reynolds selling inside to pull his corner with him, then ultimately cutting back and saying, oh, now I'm going to block you out of the play. And then it's Kyle Leaf Raymond. So that one felt like it was set up a little bit earlier based on how the edge played it. We know they're very aggressive upfield. That was an excellent job to take advantage of that. This one was a massive miss. So this was a cover 3 look. This was a 2nd and 7. Okay, I get the 3rd down play, but I thought this one was what was massive here. Amon-Ra St. Brown. So again, you come back to St. Brown quickly. You can see the pressure from the inside. We kind of lose this block again on the inside here with Jaron Reed. It's going to be something to keep an eye on, Graham Glasgow, because like I said, he was kind of rough in this game. But they had St. Brown on this play, and this to me was a massive one. You can see where Brooks opens up to, but on this play, you're going to see that Goff, with that pressure, I think he just left it a little short. I think part of this, because he hit a quick slant route, was maybe he was anticipating St. Brown was going to sit down in this zone hole because this was not man. Instead, he almost kind of ran through it. I think he was kind of anticipating, like, because he sees that linebacker and he's moving him, like, hey, sit down in the zone. I'm going to kind of throw it down and away. But I think it was too far down and away, as you see here. He threw that thing at his ankles. That would have been difficult. I feel like he was trying to kind of pull him down and sit down. He kind of ran through it. But still, this one was just too far down the way with the pressure. And that, to me, was one of the massive misses, because while this, we didn't pick up the first down, it was the play before that stands out. That could have kept the drive alive. And you see defensively, again, they go into a cover 3 look here with the safety. He's going to roll out into this flat. And this is kind of the same look that we just had with the linebacker opening up to the strong side of the formation, and they come back and check it down to Gibbs. Now, notice Laporta, he was the guy with the real opportunity on this play. They brought over Josh Reynolds, so they got 3 guys on this side of the field. Safety's going to cheat that direction, and you're going to see that right there. So 3 guys, safety cheats over there. And this is kind of isolated again on this backside like they had. Now the linebacker sits in a little bit more, and he kind of takes away a potential to catch and run here. Gibbs, you can see he's very aware of sitting down, kind of making that a curl route and not running through this. He seemed very aware to kind of pull that thing down and like, okay, let me throttle down and find his zone hole. I think Laporta had a real chance here. I understand why the ball didn't go there, but you can see with his route at the top, boom, separating, he had a real opportunity if that's for the ball to win, and there was enough pass protection, I think, to get the ball there. But you're going to see he went underneath. I understood the read. You know, maybe there could have been a little bit more catch and run to this where he could have done a little bit more after the catch. It was set up a 4th and 3. We didn't get as many yards as I think we would have liked here. But I could understand why they went there, especially if they were really considering going for it on 4th down. Like, hey, we'll take that quick little route and then we'll get it close to the 4th down potential opportunity to go for it. So I did understand that. You also could have pointed to the spot route on the backside by Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you look at it here, boom, he spots up right there. Again, I can understand why the ball didn't go there, but you had a couple of options on this play, I think more so than where the ball necessarily went. I understood it, though, because that's what we had been attacking. But regardless, that was the last play. I think the play before was actually the one that was massive because the one before had an easy opportunity to at least get us to like a 3rd and 1, and we just did not connect. But overall, I thought there was a ton of good here offensively to really point out. I thought the strategy was nice. It's a couple things that I didn't love, but I thought there was a lot of good. It's tough to lose Montgomery because, man, that guy's a baller, but when we get him back, I'm going to be excited because I just want to see him get more touches. That dude can play. I love watching his play style. I thought Brock Wright did better than I thought. We'll have to keep an eye on Graham Glasgow for sure and what that's going to look like. But overall, the way that they were able to get Khalif going, St. Brown sounds like he's back at practice, which is excellent. So a lot of positive to take away from this week, which I think we kind of anticipated. But also give credit to a guy like Matt Nelson for handling business in there and helping us kind of keep on schedule. Too many negative runs for sure, but a lot of good in the passing game. With that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Prop, for watching, and I'm out.